Thank you for sticking this far. Express allows us to build up easy RESTful applications. And by REST, I mean we can be able to send post requests, we can be able to have GET requests, and we can also be able to have delete requests, as well as your usual put request. Put request is ideally updating. In some situations, you can also have a patch request when you're going to update just part of a resource, or if something is stored in the database, it's just going to be a small part of it. And for now, I'm going to work on the GET requests, and we can decide on the approach. We shall do a bit of URL design. And what do I mean by URL design? A lot of RESTful applications and APIs tend to be designed in a manner that's very, very easy to follow. So for example, you might have a URL like facebook.com/API/ maybe version 1/users, and this could return all the users in the system. Ours is going to be a bit toned down, so we'll just have a /items that will return all the to-do items in the system. And we'll start off by typing up, so whatever app variable here, and we'll type get, and then we'll provide a URL called items, and it takes a callback. This callback takes in a request as well as a response, and for now we'll have our response spitting out JSON. We'll have it simple. Hi there, as some simple JSON response. After that, we have to make sure that our application is listening to our port. So we'll maybe keep it at 8080, and let's give it a callback function and say that this application is running on port 8080. And the way to access this is really just typing HTTP localhost and the port number. All right, so let's go in here and let's type that. So we'll type node app.js. I'll show you how to use node more in a bit. And then when we visit this link, localhost 8080, we should get a bug like that. However, when we visit it /items, we shall get a nice looking JSON output. If I go into Postman and I type that GET request, it will be sent back here. Postman is one way we can use to analyze requests. Another one is curl. We can use the curl utility to work with APIs as we are testing them. And there we are. There is a bug, of course, when we visit the main page. For that, we can maybe design something small to tell the user that, hey, when you visit the main, the API is not found there. We'll use something else for this later on. So response JSON, you can't be here. And when I restart this by closing it and restarting it afresh, and I visit this main link, I'll get that nice looking error. Okay, and we need to structure or think of a data structure to hold items that we add in the future. So for now, let's create a simple object at the top, preferably, and let's call it maybe something like var item store equals function. And so in this function, it's empty, but we'll initialize some holders. So this is an object in JavaScript. An object has properties. This property is called items, and we'll also give it an ID of maybe a default ID of 1. This one will allow us to identify individual items, and shortly we'll look at how to add functions to this. functions or methods to an object. Object-oriented programming is a huge paradigm, very amazing to learn. Okay, so let's carry on and add a function here. We'll use prototype for this. This is a project typical inheritance, and we'll say add item, which takes in a function. The function takes in an item, and all it does is the moment the item comes in, it gets pushed into here, and what we'll do here is we'll increment the ID. So let's create a new item. Actually, this might be a bit wrong, so let's create a new item. Let's call it item object, and this item object is made out of perhaps some name. I assume we can rename this variable to something logical like item.name, and it will have some special ID which happens to be the ID of the object, and this is what we get to push. Okay, for now it doesn't look pretty, but I mean, this is how we shall work with it. So I suppose the next thing we can work on is a post. How do we actually use this function here? And this is where the body parser kind of comes in to help us work on this.